Well, this is my blog for the week of January 25th. Another busy week. Final started on Friday after a couple snow days to begin the week without a hitch. And looks like everything's going to go smoothly to get finals done this week. If you've seen a bunch of hockey players walking around town with pink hair, it's because they had a breast cancer awareness night on Friday and they all dyed their hair pink. And they raised $1,220. So congratulations, Bears hockey. And I think Mr. Jones, our assistant coach, did a lot of work in putting that together. Great cause, great job, you guys. This week I have a little bit of information, I guess, on student motivation that I want to talk a little bit about. It's something, as I've said before, we're talking about with our school plan. Currently talking to Brandon University about maybe having a research project done within our school to get a better handle on student motivation and what we need to do. Before exams started, I had several parents in telling me they're struggling getting their son or daughter to complete work, and the negative consequences that, of course, happen from that, which is kind of what I want to talk about a little bit. I'm going to have a lot of data here after this semester's done on how many zeros are out there, how many students failed, and definitely be sharing that with parents and staff about what's going and students about what's going on there. A few things I want to talk about when we're talking about dealing with students. Some of the strategies we've used in the past and some strategies that we're thinking about doing as far as a research project. One is negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is where you take something away in order to increase a behavior. So for example, if you want to increase students handing stuff in, maybe we would look at having a rule where if you have over 70% and you've handed all your stuff in on time all semester, maybe we take away the fact you have to write an exam. So that would be, so you'd actually get an exemption if you haven't accumulated any bad debt, if you would, and that bad debt being zeros because of incomplete assignments. That'd be an example of negative reinforcement, because you're increasing the behavior by taking something away. Positive reinforcement, that would be the addition of something in order to also increase the behavior. And a good example of that is students complete their work on time. The positive reinforcement is they get good grades. Not all students see that as a motivator, but that is positive reinforcement. If success breeds success. Our Renaissance program is a good example of that too. Any students first semester at report card time, halfway through the semester, that didn't have any zeros, which is about 51% of our students at that time, received a free breakfast. Those students that had zeros because of incomplete students sat in the classroom and completed work. That would be an example of positive reinforcement for those students that received a free breakfast. That's one reason with our Renaissance program we started collecting the data to see if it improved. And it's been interesting because it has improved our attendance. There's a correlation there. I won't say it's causation, but there's a correlation that our attendance is better. And so is our failure rate is much lower than what it was in the past. Our course completion rate is in the 90s, where at one point it was in the 70s percent. So that's definitely gone up, which is nice to see. It just would be better, and our grades would be better if students were completing assignments. The old saying there is, how can I fit school into my busy schedule? Procrastination, I think, is sometimes one of the biggest problems that parents and students and staff are dealing with. Versus Deming, who said, coined the phrase quality is job one, which we know Ford adapted. But before Ford adapted that, Deming went over and started working with a little company called Honda. And I think we know what happened to Honda after he started working with them. Deming, he gave employees more control. He made them feel more competent, and he made them feel more committed and connected to the organization. And because of that, Honda grew into what it is today. And I guess that's our goal when we're talking maybe about reinforcement with students, how do we give them more control so they can take a little more ownership and use that ownership properly? How can we make sure they feel more competent? And finally, how can we make them feel more connected to the school, like they belong to something versus are a visitor in our building? Third thing that we've tried in the past, and that's punishment, and that for sure at times doesn't make students feel more connected to school, that's for sure. And that's one reason why we tried some more of the positive reinforcement. Basically you're trying to decrease the behavior by adding a consequence. That's punishment. And one way we punish right now is if you don't get the work done, you fail. That's a natural consequence. Technically that is punishment, but that is a natural consequence of not getting the job done. Some of the things we're throwing around right now is if students don't get their work in, maybe they lose their open campus privilege. Open campus privilege is something that you earn by not having any incomplete assignments. Maybe extracurricular, and we have had that where students aren't getting the job done in the classroom. We've taken away their extracurricular until they have completed their incomplete assignments. We've taken away their noon hours and put them in the resource room where they have had to get incomplete assignments done before they earn their noon hour back. Trying to help them be successful by getting work simply done. And last, one of the common ones too is this loss of credit. If you don't get the job done, a punishment is you don't get the credit. And as some of our grade 9s are seeing this semester, if you don't get the credit, then guess what? You have to retake the credit, because that's how the credit system in Manitoba works. Basically, so negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement, and punishment, those are the three things we're talking about right now. And looking forward to talking to Brandon University a little more about how that can maybe fit into a research project, and our staff and parents and students, involving them in the process to take a look at how we can address this, with the end result being our students are more successful, more ready for whatever's beyond our doors after graduation, and successful and connected and competent. That's what we're looking for. Finally, on a little brighter note, I guess, our student and staff member of the month. Our students of the month is actually multiple. It was Chelsea Bothy, Jason Taylor, and Tejan Barkley, who were Olympic torch carriers here when the torch went through Manitoba. They did a great job. Some of them had some dancing publicly, some of them had some public speaking around those activities, and they definitely represented Verdon Collegiate very well in those activities, and we're very proud of them. Staff member of the month is actually Mrs. Langlois. People that nominated Chelan for our featured staff member of the month says she does a ton of work for the teachers in the classroom. She spends her noon, which is part of her daily schedule, but she spends her noon helping students get incomplete assignments done in the resource room, and she's good at chasing them down when sometimes there's a little bit of avoidance going on. She's good at getting in there and making sure students are getting in the resource room and getting their work done. She helps students in period 3 when she's supposed to be working in the library. She helps students in the library get their work done, and also offers them math students advice on how to complete questions and everything else. And whenever staff ask her to do stuff, they also said that she's never said no, irregardless of what kind of job they've asked her to do. She's always more than willing to do that, and she's done a great job for us. And she's also our monitors in the hallway. She was brave enough to take on the job of keeping those current for me, and I appreciate all the work she does with that messaging system. And one final thing, I guess, that wasn't part of the nomination, but I can add for Mrs. Langlois, is the fact that this Friday the EAs are having a PD day, and she's been instrumental in making that day, putting that day together, and making sure it's going to be a great success. And great job, Mrs. Langlois. I'm sure that day will be very well, very organized.